Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 20-minute workshop on mastering credit cards with your budget. My name is Kelly, and before we jump in here, I just want to make sure you guys can hear me and make sure you found that chat window. So if you could, type on over and let me know where you're listening from. I'm chatting with you guys today from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome back to those of you that have been with me for a few workshops. I see some familiar names out there. We have Jody coming to us from Oakland, California, Andre from Dallas, Texas, Andrea from Las Vegas. Excellent. And it looks like a bunch of people just joined us. Don't worry, you haven't missed a thing. We're just doing some introductions, and now we're going to go ahead and jump right on in. So credit cards are challenging because they create financial uncertainty. You're out shopping and you reach for the credit card because you aren't sure whether or not you've got the money for the purchase. You know you haven't reached your credit limit, so you charge it. But now you aren't sure whether or not you have the money to pay the bill. Well, today I'm going to show you how you can use a credit card in your budget and remove that uncertainty. So here's my YNAB budget, and I've got my checking account here, and I've added most of those dollars to my budget. I still have $300 left to be budgeted. So let's go ahead and add our credit card and see how it impacts the budget. I add an account. This is how I connect to my bank. I'm going to skip that step for now. And I currently have a Visa card with a balance of $2,400. Now, as soon as I add my card, I'm prompted to make a decision about the starting balance. Am I going to pay it off completely right now, or will it take some time? This is going to take me some time to pay off, so I'm going to create a goal to pay off my balance over time. I think I can pay this off in about 6 months, so I'm going to set my goal for August of this year. And YNAB says I'll need to budget $400 a month to reach this goal. Now, if you're just getting started, you might not be sure how much you can afford to pay towards groceries this month, let alone your debt. You might not even be sure how much to budget for groceries. Just take your best guess. You can always adjust this later. All right. And immediately you can see my Visa account shows up over here with that balance on the card. And on the budget, YNAB creates a matching category for the credit card payment on that account. Now, I want you to notice that the account balance over here does not match the payment amount for the credit card payments category. That's because those numbers represent different things. The account balance tells me the total amount I owe on my card. The payment column in the credit card payments category tells me what's available to send for the payment. Just like what's available in groceries is how much I can spend on groceries, what's available in the credit card payments category is how much I can spend on that payment. Now, right now there's nothing available, so let's do some budgeting and fix that. I still have $300 available to be budgeted, but according to that goal that I created when I first added that account, I need to budget $400. So it looks like paying this off in 6 months is a little too much. Let's go ahead and adjust this goal. I'm going to edit that, and let's see if we can maybe do it in 8 months. Now my goal is $300 a month, and I can definitely do that, so let's budget for it. I'm going to add $300 right here in the budgeted column of my Visa card, and I now have $300 available for the payment on the Visa. Perfect. So I want to check in with you guys now. Does everybody understand how to add a credit card and then budget for the starting balance? Give me a got it or a yes or a smiley face if you're with me so far. All right, Eleanor's with me so far. She's going to be a pro soon at this, that's for sure. Excellent. Jody's got to understand so far as well. And don't worry, Jody, we're going to touch on that in a second. Don't worry. We'll address that question in 1 minute. Excellent. All right, Megan is just joining us. Glad to have you, Megan. We added our account using this button right here, and then you're going to want to make sure you select that as a credit card. That's key right there. And then if you budget for your starting balance right here in the credit card payment category. Okay. All right. So now for the magical part. If you're going to keep using your credit card, as long as you budget for the spending with money you have, YNAB will make sure that that money is ready for the payment. So let's go ahead and walk through that. I need to buy a gift for my dad. It's his birthday this month, and I'm going to buy it on Amazon, free shipping, and I'm going to use my Visa card. So the first thing I do is I check my budget, and I can see that I have $50 available for gifts. Now, right now, that money is in my checking account. That's where it is living right now. I'm just using my Visa card because it's convenient and I get those rewards. So let's see what happens to the credit card payment category when I record this gift. Right now, it's $300. Right? And you can see that $300 right here at the top of the accounts register as well. So I'm going to add this transaction. The payee is who gets the money. In this case, it's Amazon. The category is going to be my gifts category. And I spent $40 on my dad's present. All right, now as soon as I add this gift, you can see that I now have $40 more available for the payment on this card. The balance on my Visa card goes up as well, right? It was $2,400, now it's $2,440. That's true. Let's look at the budget. So I had money budgeted for gifts, but since I used my credit card, $40 was removed from my gifts category and added to my Visa category. Now, remember, I still have that money physically in my checking account because I haven't paid the credit card bill yet. But the jobs of those dollars has changed. The jobs was to buy a gift, but now the job is to pay back the credit card company. No more uncertainty. I know that my gifts category is up to date. I know that I have money ready and waiting for that credit card payment. Let's go ahead and do one more purchase, see how that money moves from the spending category to the credit card payments category. At the same time, we'll talk about interest. So I want you to imagine that I'm away from the computer now. I'm sitting on my couch, and I notice that interest has been charged to my Visa account since I'm carrying a balance. Well, that's a purchase, just like my dad's birthday present. What am I purchasing? Permission to carry a balance. Basically, I'm buying time to pay back that debt. So I'll pull YNAB up on my phone right there, and I can see I have $50 budgeted for interest and fees. So I have money to cover this. And just like the gift purchase, that money will move from the interest and fees category to the credit card payments category. So I'm going to record that transaction now. It was a $25 interest fee. The payee who gets the money is the Visa company. Category is going to be my interest and fees category. It's going to come out of my Visa account, and I'll hit save. And you can see that automatically moves that money up here for the payment. So does everybody understand that when you budget for spending and use a credit card, YNAB changes the job of those dollars so that they're ready for the payment? Give me a got it or a yes or good to go if tracking spending with credit cards is making sense to you. Hopefully it's making a little more sense to you now, Jody. She had mentioned that she pays off for her American Express in full each month and wanted to know if that was recommended. And they do that because they get that 6% cash back on grocery stores. Absolutely, Jody. You would just budget for those purchases ahead of time, right? I have money for my grocery category right here. I would record that spending in my Visa account, and YNAB would move that money up here for the payment on that card. No more uncertainty. And again, you can see that information is updated right back here to the web app as well. There's that interest purchase that I just made to the Visa company for $25. So when the time comes to make a payment, I'll check my credit card payment category to see what's available. And that's how much I can pay. And I can also see that amount in the Visa register as well, right here at the top. So I'm just going to hit record payment. The payee is going to be a transfer from my checking account since that's where the money lives right now. There's nothing to categorize right now because I'm not buying anything. I'm just paying back the people who bought the stuff for me. YNAB automatically fills in the amount I have available for the payment, and then I'll hit save. And now I have nothing available for the payment since I just made the payment. You can see my Visa account amount goes down by that $300 that we budgeted when we first started. And if I look at my checking account, you can see there's the money leaving my checking account to pay that Visa bill. All right, guys. So just everybody understand how I recorded that payment. And if you have any other clarifying questions about using a credit card in YNAB, feel free to send those on over now. If you are willing to chat with me live on the mic, you can add mic at the end of your question, and we'll go ahead and do that. Jody, I do want to track back for a second here. She mentioned that she pays off her credit card in full each month, and that is awesome. So the first time you add your credit card, you're going to want to budget for the starting balance right here in that credit card category. It looks like that was your next question here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up another budget because I want to make a different point for a second here. All right, so here's another budget that I have. I have $3,500 in my checking account. $2,500 is owed on this Visa card. Now, some people pay their bills in full each month, but they're stuck on what's called the credit card float. If you're not able to budget for this month's expenses and still pay off your credit card, it means you're stuck in this vicious cycle of relying on your credit card each month. Let me show you what I mean. If I budgeted to pay off that card, I put $2,500 there. That leaves me with only $1,000 left this month to budget for all of my expenses. I can pay my rent and a little bit towards groceries, but I'm really cash strapped at this point, and I'm stuck relying on that Visa card again for all my other bills and expenses. So instead of doing it this way, we suggest that you do this first. You'll add all your accounts. You can add your credit card too, but the first thing we want you to do is budget for this month's expenses. All right, so I just budgeted for all of the things that I'm going to have to pay for the rest of this month. Then any money you have left over goes towards the payment on that card. All right, now it might take a little bit of time to pay off the card, or maybe you'll have enough to pay the whole thing, but you'll no longer be stuck relying on that credit card each month in order to pay for those expenses. And this is how you can escape that credit card float. Yes, it might take a little bit of time. You can create a goal to pay off that card by a specific date if you'd like, but you'll no longer be relying on that card for all of those purchases and stuck in this vicious, stressful cycle. And so this is how we suggest you do that. Again, you might pay a little bit of interest. That's okay. It won't be forever. And you can also pretend that that debt you owe on the card is just like any other debt. It might be like a car payment, right? If you owed $2,500 on your car, you probably wouldn't pay it off in full if your checking account was at this level, right? You would just trek along, paying it off as you could over time. And so that's the way that we suggest you do that to escape the credit card float. All right, so jumping back over to the other budget. Oh, and Jody says, great, thank you for that answer. That's exactly where we are currently, relying on our card. And it's stressful, right, Jody? You're always kind of doing this mental aerobic math, trying to figure out how much can we send for the payment and still pay the rent and the electric bill. And I want to buy groceries and those sunglasses are on sale. And it's hard. It's really hard. Once you start budgeting for the things that you're going to be spending your money on first, all of that stress goes away because you know how much you can spend because it tells you right there because you already budgeted for it. Okay, here's a question from John asking about how we record interest on multiple cards. Let me go ahead and add a new card here so we can show you what that looks like. Let's say I have a Discover card with a balance of $400. And I'm going to skip this step for now. Now, if you did pay your credit card off in full each month, again, I would just budget that $400 right here in the Discover card category. But since I can't do that right now, and I do get charged interest on this card, I would record that interest right there in the Discover card category. It's going to be to the Discover company. It's going to be from the interest and fees category. And maybe it was a $10 interest charge. Now, because I had that money set aside in my interest and fees category, you can see I spent $25 on my Visa interest payment, $10 on my Discover interest payment. And YNAB moved that $10 from this category up here to my Discover credit card payment category. So I'm not increasing the amount of debt I have on the card, or at least not to the point where I can't pay it off because I budgeted for that purchase. I know I can send that money to the company and not have to worry about having enough in my checking account to cover my other bills and priorities. And record all of your interest in the same category. Don't split it up by the card. We don't split up our grocery stores, like each category for each grocery store, right? Same thing applies here. So don't do that. It's just simpler this way. All right, guys, if you have any other questions about using credit cards with your budget, send those on over now. I do want to mention the next class coming up is called When You Have to Use a Credit Card. It's going to be happening at 1/4 to the next hour, and I definitely recommend giving that a watch if you had another 20 minutes. Sometimes you just don't have the cash for a purchase, and so we'll cover credit over spending and how that works in YNAB. We also talk about work reimbursements and a couple other topics in that class as well that most people find pretty helpful. So I'd love to see you over there if you had a little bit more time this evening. I'll give you guys a minute to send that over. Oh, and then here's another question about, does YNAB keep track of my statement balance from Stephanie? So no, YNAB doesn't necessarily keep track of that, but it does better than that because it sets you up to pay the entire balance. YNAB is focused on budgeting and making sure that money is set aside for all the things that you pay for. And so whatever amount is sitting in the available column of your credit card category, that's how much you can pay. You can choose to send them less. Sometimes the statement amount is less than what you actually owe on the card because of the date it gets cut off. So you could choose them less. That money will sit in that category until you choose to send it to them, just like any other one. So if I jump from March to April, you can see I still have that $10 waiting to pay off that card. So you absolutely can send them less if you'd like, but you could also pay off your card every single week if you wanted to. And Eleanor and I were talking about this recently. I like to pay off all my cards on Friday so that I start the weekend with 0 balances. Let's see here. Jody's asking, I have my accounts importing my info. Can I also add a transaction or will it duplicate the amount? Good question, Jody. So no, it won't duplicate it. The nice thing about YNAB is, so if I put in that Amazon gift purchase, I put it in manually. When that transaction is imported in, YNAB will match those 2 transactions together for as long as they're for the same amount. It'll ask you to approve that they're a match. And then that way you don't have to worry about having any duplicates in there. Which is really handy. So, and there are some things that I suggest you put in manually as often as you can. Groceries, gas, those are the kind of those are variable expenses that the balance in that category is pretty critical, especially if you're budgeting with a partner. So I would definitely suggest keeping those ones up to date manually because it does. YNAB won't import those transactions until they have cleared your account. So it could take 2 to 3 days. But then once they're clear, they usually come in within 12 hours. Eleanor's asking if there's been interest in upgrading YNAB to have a taxable category or taxable column. Oh, I don't know, Eleanor. That's a great question. You should definitely send that suggestion to help@ynab.com. We're always looking for ways to improve YNAB to make it better for our users. So definitely send any suggestions or feedback that you have to that help@ynab.com. They like getting emails like that. I love it, and I think it could be even better if. Those are good comments to share. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. You guys are welcome to take these workshops as many times as you need until you feel comfortable. They're always free. They're always 20 minutes, and we look forward to having you back again. Take care for now, everyone, and happy budgeting.